with Gary, September 30th, 2020. Let me start out with a question. Have you ever done something, thought something, did something in private or secret that you don't want anybody to know? If you would just die if they found out, you'd be very embarrassed. There would be a sense of shame in your life. Did you realize that there was no shame in the beginning? But in Genesis 3, when we have the fall of man, when Adam and Eve sinned, then not only did sin enter into the world, not only did brokenness in the relationship that man had with God enter into the world, but so did shame. Remember, God came to them as he normally did in the cool of the day, and Adam and Eve were hiding. And they said they were hiding because they were afraid, because they were naked. And so shame had entered into their life. The truth of it is every one of us has done things we hope no one finds out about. We don't want people to know how badly we've been or some things that we've thought. In fact, not only would they embarrass us, but there would be a sense of shame with them. If you've ever felt shame, or if you even maybe have some shame in your life right now, I've got some good news for you. Hebrews 12, Verse 1 says this, "Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand at the throne of God." Now, when we look at this, we need to understand that not only was the cross physically painful, the most excruciating pain anybody could experience, but there was shame associated with it. There was shame with being spit upon. There was shame with being bitten beyond recognition. There was shame with a crown of thorns placed on your head. There was shame of being crucified in the buff, totally naked. Jesus didn't enjoy that. He didn't want to experience that, but he knew that he had to, and he looked ahead and he saw what would be the results of him suffering in this way. So not only did he take your sin and my sin upon himself on the cross, he took our shame as well. And so when God removes our sin from us, he also removes our shame. So let me just show you one more quick passage, and I think this is going to be some encouragement to you. In Isaiah 61, we find these words, "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me." This is what Jesus said in Luke. "Because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted, He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and freedom to the prisoners, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn." Now, when we sin and we experience shame, we mourn. Something's lost. Innocence is lost. Relationship with God is broken. Whatever it is, something happens deep within us, and it creates a sense of mourning. We grieve ourselves. We grieve the Spirit of God. It creates a sense of mourning. And so it says, "To grant to those who mourn, giving them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a spirit of fainting, so that they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified." Now I want you to think about this. When the nation of Israel was defeated and the nation, the city of Jerusalem, lay in ruins, the temple was destroyed, there was a sense of shame. They got beat. They got hauled off into another land. They became prisoners. The glory of God was not with them at that moment. And so what happens is that Jesus says, here's what's going to happen. If you'll trust me, if you'll believe in me, I will comfort you. But not only will I comfort you by taking away your sin and taking away your shame, I will build you up. I'll give you a garland. The garland represented victory. When the athlete won the game, he got a garland that was placed around his neck. I'll give you a garland instead of ashes. Victory instead of defeat. I'll give you the oil of gladness, so there'll be joy. Joy comes in the morning. We grieve through the night. Sorrow lasts through the night, but joy comes in. I'll give you the joy of gladness, a mantle of praise, and you'll be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord. If you'll trust God, he'll take away not only your sin, he'll take away your shame. But he doesn't just leave you in that condition with this gone. He then comes in and he builds you up, and you become an oak of righteousness for the Lord. Hope this has been a blessing to you. See you next week.